So I just want to go through a couple things about some of these sentences to highlight some things you should know about how these phrases and sentences are constructed. First of all, we have this series of variations on the Buddha teaching the doctrine. And it's important that you understand the different variations of this sentence or phrase that you've seen over and over. Some of you did this right on the quiz, but a number of you didn't properly translate these phrases. So let's start with the second one, which is the basic sentence. The Buddha is a teacher. So is the verb yin, and as you know, it goes noun, noun, verb, or nominative noun, nominative object, or complement of the verb, and the verb yin. So the Buddha is a teacher. So that's a simple version. We also have the version, the next sentence, the Buddha taught the Dharma. So here, to teach is the verb. Again, it comes at the end. And to teach, as you should know, is a verb that takes its subject in the agentive or third case in Tibetan. So this ki is the third case marker, and Sangye, the Buddha, is the doer of the verb then, right? So the Buddha, marked in the third case as the doer of the verb, taught the doctrine. So the Dharma then, the object of the verb teach, is in the nominative case. That means it has no case marker. So there's no case marker after ch, right? Let's go to the first one. What the Buddha taught is the doctrine. So some of you missed this on the quiz. This is a different type of sentence than the Buddha taught the Dharma, right? These two sentences are not the same. Here again, you can first of all look for the verb. You see yin, the verb here. So you know there has to be a nominative subject and a nominative object or complement of yin. So you start looking for those. Here you see a phrase ending in the particle ni. And you know that ni is a particle that marks a topic. You also see ch here as an unmarked word, the Dharma, so it's got no case markers. So this is the object of yin, or the complement. And then this whole phrase is the subject. So the basic phrase is A, if we call this A, is B. So then what is A? So then this is a phrase where you see the verb to teach, which takes its doer in the agentive or third case. So teaching the doctrine, the Buddha taught the doctrine. If it were just ended here without going on, it would be the simple sentence, the Buddha taught. But here we have the pa, which is a nominalizer. So this turns this whole phrase into a noun phrase. So that which the Buddha taught is a noun phrase. And then it helps us to have this ni here, which further marks off the fact that this is a noun phrase. So that's why we have to translate this technically as what the Buddha taught. So this is the noun phrase that's right here that's marked by a ni. So what the Buddha taught is the doctrine, is the proper translation. So here again we have that part of the sentence, that which is taught by the Buddha. So this is not a sentence, right? It's just a phrase. A noun phrase, and you can tell that because there's no verb at the end, and instead there's a nominalizer right here. And then this is another version of that same type of phrase, that which is taught by the guru. Here you can see the third case marker is just a sa. That's because the word lama ends with a ma, and it has, so the rule for making a third case marker with a syllable that has no suffix is just to add the sa onto it. So that turns lama into la me. This is pronounced me, which indicates that it's in the third case. Here are two more sentences that you saw on the quiz and in your exercises in Nettle. So again, these are simple sentences in the sense that they use the verb yin. And so, as you know, when you have a yin, you look for the A and the B, the subject and the complement. This no, you should remember, is just a terminating particle. It has no meaning. It just means, it just indicates the end of the sentence and appears sometimes in a sentence in classical Tibetan. Often it'll be used in verse where you need to fill out the meter with another syllable. But you can see it elsewhere also in prose. So we're looking for the A and the B in this sentence, both of them in the nominative case. This is helpful to us because it indicates the topic. It's this topic marker ni. So we know that this is the A. Nyangde is the word for liberation. And then the rest of the sentence would then be the B part, the complement. So we know that chungne means source. And here, what case is this? The sixth case, or connective. So the source of happiness. You can often just read backwards in Tibetan. So the source of happiness. So you just read A is B, liberation is the source of happiness. And this other sentence then is exactly the same pattern. So again, it's a yin sentence, and we're looking for the A and the B, and we're happy to have a topic marker ni here. So ngagel, pride, is, and again we have a sixth case marker here, is the cause of difficulty. So these are simple patterns, both exactly the same in the same structure. Here's another one that's also similar in structure, although it ends not with a yin verb, but with a verb, she, to know. So the Buddha knows all objects of knowledge. Sangye ki sheja tamshe she. So we have the verb she here. We want to look for the subject. And we see up at the beginning, usually the subject or agent comes early in the sentence. So we see Sangye ki. So this is Sangye, the Buddha, marked by the third case marker agentive. So she is a verb that takes its doer in the third case, or agentive, and its complement or object in the nominative case. So we see indeed that there's no case marker here after this phrase. Sheja tamshe. So this is a noun adjective phrase. Here's the noun, sheja, and here's the adjective. So you know that adjectives come after the nouns they modify. So we have the Buddha knows all objects of knowledge. Finally, here are a few more complicated sentences that would have been difficult for you, but they are examples of two particle types that you learned in this unit. So these are both explained on page 136, datar and ne. So the book gives a few examples of these, but in your exercises you have quite a few more examples of how these particles are used. So this sentence, the first one, lame kanangwa detar nyamsulang. So nyamsulang is the verb that means to practice, like as in to practice meditation. And then you see the detar, according to. So you can read backwards from here. Read this direction. So according to the instructions, so this kanangwa, instructions by the guru. Or you can say, this is the third case marker. So the guru gave instructions is, this could be a complete sentence right here, but then you have the nominalizing particle wa, so it makes this entire thing into a noun phrase. So the instructions by the guru, given by the guru. And then, of course, you learned that sometimes in Tibetan the subject is missing, so there's a missing subject right here. So he practiced according to, and then this phrase, the guru's instructions, or instructions given by the guru. And this other sentence is an example of the particle ne here. So again, you look for the verb, nyamlen nang, meditation practice, to do meditation practice. Drupa is a type of meditation practice. So ne is a particle that goes after a verb, and it means after, or having verbed. So after eating, Chungse sam is a little bit of food. So this is just a noun. This is an adjective. This is the verb. And this is the particle that means having verbed. So verb ne means having verbed or after verbing. So after eating a little bit of food, he practiced meditation. So again here, the he is implied. Okay, next, a few more examples of particles that you learned on page 137 in the Wilson book. So kechikma, du, and J are the ones that were presented on that page. And here in your exercises, you had some more examples, more complicated examples of how those are used. So the first sentence here, Sangye, you know, actually this sek shouldn't be here, and this one shouldn't be here either. So you know that Sangye is a noun, the Buddha, but it also means to be enlightened. It can be also a verb. So became enlightened, so somebody became enlightened in one instant. So kechikma just means in an instant or momentarily sometimes. So in an instant, he, again the subject is implied, became enlightened. Okay, the next one, you look first for the verb at the end. Pool is a verb that means to offer. So somebody offered something is what we're looking for. So we can look and see usually the object is the closest to the verb, right? So lu ngak yi sum. So the three, body, speech, and mind. Somebody offered the three, body, speech, and mind. So this relationship here, body, speech, and mind, is a noun phrase, nouns in a list. And this right here, the relationship between body, speech, and mind and sum, and three is appositional. So you learned about appositional nouns. This is an example of that. So somebody offered body, speech, and mind, the three, and then when did that happen? Do, J do. So verb do is another commonly seen expression that you can make note of in your notes. So when having verb, it's very similar to verb ne, which we learned in the last slide. So having met or upon meeting, when meeting, do usually means something like when, but it makes more sense in English to say when to upon. So upon meeting Lama Marpa first. So in other words, for the first time. Upon meeting Lama Marpa for the first time, he offered body, speech, and mind. So again, the he is implied. All of these examples, we know them to be he because these are real examples taken from the life story of the Saint Milarepa, whose teacher was Marpa. Okay, so finally, a sentence with ending in the verb chung, to arise or to emerge. So what is it that arose? Again, we can look close to the verb and see immeasurable difficulties. Gange is difficulties, and tse me is immeasurable. Tse means to measure, and me means without, so without measure, or in other words, immeasurable. So this phrase is a noun adjective phrase. Immeasurable difficulties arose. And then here we have, this sentence is an example of how to use J. J also means after verbing, except in this case, to connect the J, you use a sixth case marker. And you connect, and you make the verb into a noun phrase. So shekbe J is how you say after passing away. You could also say shekne, using the expression we used last time on the last slide, the verb ne. But here's another way to say after something happens. So yap is the honorific for father. Yap shekpe je, after his father passed away, immeasurable difficulties arose. So these are hard sentences, but you can see it's helpful to have more examples of how these little particles are used, and you'll continue to see these and sort of struggle to figure out what they mean and how they're put together for the rest of your career in learning Tibetan. But the basic structure of the sentence is something that you already can figure out. Finally, don't forget that the colors in Nettle can help you with these exercises. So you've been learning the meanings of the colors in identifying elements. You know that verbs are blue, for example, and nouns are this kind of brownish color. Here, verbs are blue, nouns are brown, adjectives are this sort of yellow color, right? So if you're working on an exercise on a sequencing exercises and you're stuck, you can turn on the colors here, and that'll help you a bit. You know this is the verb then. If you don't know the vocabulary, this is the verb and these are the nouns. So don't forget to turn on colors if you need a little extra help.